Welcome to our third part of the Sam Houston High School Virtual Black History Program of 2021. I know you will enjoy this amazing talent and education brought to you by our very own Sam Houston students, staff, and community. Part 3 is about education. Tales of the struggle. Marcus Garvey, a 20th century activist, once said, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." Education of the Black Americans' culture and past is not rooted in only the American system of slavery and Jim Crow, but it reaches back to the kingdoms of Africa and stretches to the four corners of the earth. The Black experience is a diaspora that is not monolithic, but yet it is a common thread, a longing to learn about our origins so that we can understand who we are and where we are going. The acts you are about to witness are Why We Celebrate Black History with Ms. Joy Henry, Student Vignettes, Sam Houston Students Meeting with the Elders Part 3, Art Exposition Time-Lapse by Mr. Cleo Ingram.
Why celebrate Black history? It's so we never forget what's possible and what permeates our DNA. The very foundation of civilization is confirmed to have begun in, yes, AFRICA. You don't believe me? Research the Eve gene this spring for a guaranteed A. Or Mansa Musa, a West African emperor now famous for the wealth he gave away. Countless African kings were like Musa, who walked the earth around the year 1200. It's your DNA, so accept the fact there is royalty within us. Why celebrate Black history? Because you need to know your history does not begin as slaves, but with bravery and riches and kingdoms that Portuguese and European conquerors tried to erase. They ordered soldiers to shoot off noses of the faces on pyramids so you wouldn't see yourself in the reflection and want to rise up and organize both then and now to fight back against oppression. We celebrate Black history so you will know that Haiti, Jamaica, and Brazil were founded on slave rebellion. Male and female warriors settled here. They guarded their freedom and their families with their weapons. Every day we should remember, but at this time in particular, the horrors of the Middle Passage from 1619 to well into the 1800s. Millions were enslaved and chained within the bowels of ships like baggage. For months, the captives laid on wooden planks, crammed shoulder to shoulder in chains with no room to move or breathe. Many rebelled, others died of disease, and still others chose the freedom of death as they plunged rebellious, mighty angels of the Atlantic Sea. But have you ever considered that within you lies the DNA of the survivors? So how dare you complain or fold under the strain of a challenging class or someone who simply doesn't like you? We've done and achieved amazing things because it is simply who we are. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a Harvard grad, confirmed with research that you achieve much more when you're aware of the strength that's in our scars. Woodson became a professor at Tuskegee University, founded as a remedy to segregation. Colleges wouldn't admit Black students anywhere in this nation. But because we are unstoppable, we founded our own. We spit in the face of systematic racism, and yes, today you can attend any Black college you choose in any of 20 states. And when Woodson learned the students needed more dormitories, he didn't weep. He pawned his watch and bought a kiln. They baked the bricks with their own hands. Yes, we built our own universities, brick by brick by brick. So, After learning this today, allow excuses to fade away and draw strength from what we've survived. You are the hope and the dream of the slave. They risked death with you in mind. We celebrate Black history to speak the names of brilliant inventors who've improved all of our lives. Dr. Charles Drew invented the blood bank, Robert Fleming, the guitar, Garrett Morgan, the gas mask and the traffic light, Dr. Shirley Jackson, the touch-tone phone, and fiber optics faster than falling stars. Philip Emeagwali created the world's fastest computer, and Lisa Jalopter online shockwave video. Lonnie Johnson converts thermoelectric energy. Colson Whitehead just won the Pulitzer Prize for a novel reimagining the Underground Railroad. Otis Boykin created the IBM computer and the pacemaker that saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Marion R. Cloak created voice over IP, and she's the CEO of ATT. We have a history of brilliance, not ignorance. I want you to know that we are set apart. Study Black history so you can express that Kaepernick's knee is not about disrespect. It was a peaceful protest for which he had every right. People of color are 37 times more likely to suffer racial violence and arrest. Study Black history so you can relay that expressing Black pride does not equal white hate. And Black History Month isn't the shortest month due to shade. Carter G. Woodson chose this month to honor Frederick Douglass and Abe Lincoln. Both leaders simply share a February birthday. We celebrate Black history because forgetting our ancestors makes us as trees without roots. And I celebrate Black history because it is the story of me. And yes, it is the story of you.
Let me tell y'all about the time I got discriminated against. It happened when I was 10. I was in the 6th grade. Me and my friends were walking home from school, and we were playing around, slap boxing, kids being kids, you know. And the apartment had called the cops on us, and the officers that had took us back to our school, and the officer there had asked us what happened, you know what I'm saying, what were we doing, and we told him what happened, and he told us we were lying, and that we were just lying to him. He started cussing at us, and he had called my mom and had told my mom that I had purposely left the house to come fight this kid when none of that ever even happened. He started just, you know what I'm saying, trying to like lie on my name and my friend that was with me at the time. We ended up having to go to court because my mom didn't like that, and you know what I'm saying, I've never been like a fighter, so she knew that wasn't the case. Ended up having to go to court for it. And when we went to court, my mom had to find a lawyer. Nobody wanted to be my lawyer because I was 10, you know what I'm saying, a young age. Nobody wanted to deal with it. So when she did find a lawyer, we had went up there. It probably took like 3 months, I think, before like it actually like all started unraveling. But the lawyer had went in, you know what I'm saying. The lady, the prosecutor lady, she had said that they had video footage of me fighting, and you know what I'm saying, that actually is the case, and that's what was going to happen. And come to find out, they never had anything. They didn't have no footage. They didn't have no type of evidence. And they was just trying to trial me like an adult when I was really only 10. And all of this happened over, like, playing around. And just, the case never got dismissed either. It just happened to be like that. And I had to go all the way from 10 to 17. Without any like fighting or anything on my record or anything, just to get it expunged. And now that I'm 17, I did go 10 to 17 without getting any fights or anything, just for those sole purposes of that way I can get it expunged off my record. But yeah, that's my story.
As a Hispanic American woman, there's already a lot of setbacks for women here. just with conservative ideologies and sexism. But as a Hispanic American woman, I seen it more when I started applying to universities and colleges. I wasn't really appreciated for my academics. It was more of who I am, like, oh, like, where do you come from? How much income does your family make? They saw me as someone in a poverty level instead of intelligence level. And that's when I really started to notice that what mattered to them was who I was more than what I can do. And another thing that I have experienced with my family towards racism is in the immigration process. My dad was trying to become a legal status here in the United States, but because of the racism in our judicial system, we noticed that it's not that easy, and it's hard because a lot of judges and lawyers don't agree with what you want, and it's hard, and that's why the process takes years and years or even decades, because they just don't want you to have it, and it's a lot of money. And that's when I just realized that the world is not on our side. Something that I feel like I have done is I try to go places and just speak my mind and my voice and make sure I'm being heard. I also try to keep expanding my knowledge on certain topics, because it's never too late to learn more about racism and your own prejudice. And I think it's just important to tell others what they do wrong and also acknowledge what you do wrong. Overall, I think another thing we can do as teenagers is just expand certain issues that are happening today, like the BLM movement, and just don't let it be a trend. Make it something forever.
One of our first experiences with racism actually happened either in 6th grade or 7th grade, one of the two. And it was right before a sleepover, and it was traditional for us to go to Family Dollar or any grocery store to get snacks, as children do. So we decided to go a little further and go to Dollar General, which we usually went to Family Dollar since it was closer, but we decided to try something new anyways. So we're there and we entered the store. If I remember correctly, it was just myself and Josh, and we went in.
Yeah, and like I remember vividly, like when we went in there, the vibe was off. Like when I saw the clerk, because it just felt like he was like looking at us like more than typically whenever I go into a store. And so I was like, I already got the vibe, and I know that a lot of people might think that we steal. So I was like, just in case, especially since I got that vibe, I was like, oh, I'll carry my money out of my hand so he'll see me with the money and won't assume that I'm gonna steal anything. But nevertheless, we started shopping, and then we were looking for stuff, you know, as you do. And there for maybe like 2-3 minutes, and I'm assuming after he got done ringing up the people over there, like at the counter, he came and started following us. And like we could tell that he was following us. And then within like a minute or two of him following us, he told us to hurry up and get whatever we're gonna get and leave the store. And I'm like, I didn't understand, because I'm like, I have the money in my hand. I just wanted to buy stuff. I'm a customer just like anyone else that would come here. And so we're just there and we're just like confused, but we didn't really want to fight that battle there, especially at that age. We didn't even know what to do really. We didn't know how us saying anything would play out. So we just got whatever we were gonna get and left. And it was a really uncomfortable situation, because like we weren't gonna steal anything, but the fact that he thought we were, it completely obstructed our visit there, and it wasn't a fun time overall.
My first experience was when I went to a jewelry store in order to buy something for my mom. It was Mother's Day, I believe, and I wanted to get her something nice. I had saved up money so that I could get her a nice necklace, right? And once I got inside the jewelry store, I already felt that there was like something against me, because all the helpers, they were all white, and none of them came up to me to ask me if I needed any help. I stayed there for a good 10 minutes waiting for someone to offer their help in order for me to get what I wanted from the jewelry store. And after the 10 minutes, a white lady comes and kind of explains to me that, why am I here? Like, she questions, why am I here? What am I doing? What do I need from here? All these things. And I'm baffled. I don't understand why she was attacking me for no reason, just going into a jewelry store. So once I was inside and I was telling her what I wanted, she was telling me, oh, that's too expensive. Oh, are you sure you want that? Are you sure that's what you want? Like making me not like her thinking that I can't afford it, or maybe I'm gonna steal it. I don't know what she was thinking, but it wasn't in a positive manner. That's not her choice. It's not for her to judge what I can afford and what I cannot afford. If I felt like maybe I shouldn't be there, maybe that's not where I need to be buying stuff, maybe I should go somewhere else where it's not at that type of jewelry store that's as luxurious as that one. So after a good 15 minutes of me trying to get help from her, I decided to just come away from her, tell her to get me someone else. Other lady that helped me, she was really nice, to get me something that was like double the price of it, just so that she can get more money out of it, because the other lady was really arrogant, really mean about me being there.
Want to tell you about my school days. We had a hard time. I had to walk to school. Not only me, but if you live within the 4 or 5 miles, you had to walk to school because they didn't have a bus. And my first grade teacher was my aunt, Ari Richardson. And we was in a little frame building. So our class grew so until we had to move into the church from our 2nd grade. Then we didn't have a big building. It was the school was in La Resi, and well, they call this area over here where I stayed now Wallace Grove. They had one in Antioch. They had a school in Lee Spring for the well, they call it the pre-K now, but that was the first, the first graders. No heater, no bathroom inside. We had to share the ladies' bathroom had to be shared with the teachers. The men's bathroom had to be shared with the teachers. No water, outside pump. Let's try not to go back to that. Let's keep it going. But when I grabbed, and we had to use used books from the white school. All of our books until I finished through the 12th grade. From the 1st through the 12th, it had a white kid name in it first. Mm-hmm. So we have come a long ways, and the doors is open. It's not limit to us. We limit ourselves. But what we have to do is stay focused. Stay focused. Keep your mind straight. Trust God and keep your mind straight. And stay focused, and you can be whatever you want to be. But when I finished high school, and I was working in Tyler at a photo lab, every time when I get off, they would ask me, when I go into the stores, shopping stores, they would ask me, where did I teach school? Because I was neatly dressed. That's all we could be, a teacher or either a preacher. But now you can be whatever you want to be. And I just tell my kids all the time, if you fall by the wayside, that's your fault. Because out there, you got the books, you got the technology and everything. But everything had to be issued to us. And when I was in the 9th grade, my English teacher, Miss Stale, Faustine Stale, she would always tell us, when you come in on Monday morning, I want some current events. Mm-hmm. Now I said, Lord, now where am I gonna get current events? Because the only thing my parents did have was a Sears and Roebuck magazine book, an ordering book, no newspaper. I said, now where am I going to? And I just had to tell them, this Dale, I don't have it because my family don't have no newspaper. We didn't have no newspaper. And your uncle, A.D., he was just like his grandfather. He always tried to sell something. So he ordered some black newspapers out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he sold those. And that's where we start getting current events so we could present ourselves in our English class. So we have it, everything now.
Do you guys believe the term that history repeats itself? Recently, I had to read an article for school, and it mentioned the Rodney King riots and how police, they beat him up unrightfully, and then the police officer did not go to jail for it, and there was outrage, and there was riots in the streets and protest, and it finally clicked in my mind that it relates so similarly to the George Floyd protest. And do you really think something else is going to happen like this? Do you think those events are really similar and the effects that they had on the community afterwards? Or do you think events like this are going to keep happening and nothing's going to change?
Do I think that history is going to repeat itself? No, I really don't. And the reason I don't think the history will repeat itself, because what was going on back then, it's been going on all the time. But now the cover has been pulled off of them. And now that the cover has been pulled off, and that they are going to be more than likely that they were going to be exposed. So now, because for an example, there are police who join the police force so they can legally take advantage of Black people. So, you know, we're up on that now. When I say up on that now, the people that pull these dirty trips and all this stuff on Black people, yeah, history will not let them repeat itself, simply because we know what they're up to on this day and time.
In addition to his question that he asked, with the Black men, it always have been hard for them, because I'm gonna tell you about the incident that my husband had when we first, when he retired and came back here. He went to the bank. My aunt's husband passed, and she had some about 6 acres of land that she wanted to sell, and she wanted to sell it to, with me being her niece, she wanted me to have it and wanted my husband to have it. He said, because I know you would take care of it and make something out of it. So he went to the bank, Tyler Bank, where we had been trading for years. And he asked this loan officer, it was a man he was talking to. He explained to him and told him what he wanted to do. And he had 6 acres of land he wanted to buy. See, we're not supposed to think like that. They're supposed to think like that. You think in business when you're thinking about investing, and they don't want to hear a Black man say that. So do you know what that loan officer told my husband? See, his sister, his grandmother had a bank, had an account there. He said, I'll tell you what you do. This is what the loan officer said. You go back and get your sister and bring your sister up here, and I'll let you have the amount that you asked for. He says, I don't need my sister. I'm a grown man. And I've been banking with you for years. He didn't let him have it. So he went back again, but he went to another, in that same bank, to another loan officer. Told him what he wanted, but it was different. He said, I saw a car that I wanted. I will show you how they class you off. So, and I want to buy it. He told him the price of it. He let him have the money. But he took the money and bought the land with it. So that's the way Black men have to think, because they always have put y'all down. They want that woman to stand out. It always have been like that, to stand out front. But the man, they don't recognize a man, not a Black man. That's the way that loan officer at Tyler, the bank is not there anymore, but that back in the 40s, that's where we, did most of our banking. but his sister was there, and he said, "You bring your sister." He said, "I don't need my sister. I'm grown." But they try to cut you down, but don't let that stop you. You keep going. A door open up somewhere. If you have Christ in your life, a door will open up somewhere for you when you are focusing on the right trail. And then that don't mean that you're not gonna have problems, but you keep the focus and you can get whatever you want.
And I just want to kind of piggyback on what Ms. Christopher said about the way they do black men. I did a subdivision called Briarwood Edition, and I bought it from a lawyer. And I built 13 houses in that subdivision. And after I built those 13 houses in that subdivision, the lawyer told me, he said, "I got 40 acres just west of Briarwood." He said, "I'm going to develop it and I want you to build all of the houses." So time passed by and he didn't say anything. So I went to him one day and I said, "Mr. X," I said, "when we going to build those houses?" He said, "Well, Jess, I tell you what, I changed my mind. We're not going to do it." I said, "Well, I tell you what, if you're not going to do it, why don't you sell the 40 acres to me and let me do it?" That man laughed at me and said, "Ha, ha, ha, ha. Now, Jesse, me and my partner not going to sell you that land. You done start thinking like a white man." And they did not sell me that land, sold it to the Cascade. That's the way they do black men.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Jesse and Veretta, do y'all remember your first presidential election that you voted in, or?
President Johnson.
Johnson.
Lyndon Johnson.
Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Oh,
Okay.
Lyndon Baines Johnson.
So I'm going to piggyback off of that question. How did you guys feel being able to vote for being able to vote for the first Black president, Barack Obama, and also our most recent election, seeing a woman of color, Kamala Harris, be vice president?
Only thing I have to say, there is a God. She said there is a God.
It is. That's the only thing gonna carry you through, baby. You better keep your hand in his hand, because you're gonna need him all your life.
How do you feel with what's going on in the world like today?
You mean like Black?
Like as far as Black Lives Matter, like how do you feel about that like today?
How I feel about it, from my time comparing to your time, they want to do away with all the black men.
Yeah.
All the black men, because they've never cared too much for a black man. Never cared too much. Like I told you, they always get that black woman and let her be the speaker. But they try to do away with all the black men. They're afraid that if y'all get too far advanced, you all will be over them.
Right.
So that's the problem right there, baby.
Uncle Jesse, you have a word on, as far as the George Floyd incident and Black Lives Matter today, and your thoughts on it?
Your thoughts, Daddy?
Black Lives Matter.
How Black Lives Matter? Being black, as long as I've been black, Black lives have never mattered so far as my experience in life. Black men have always been mistreated. They've been trodden on. They've been last to the list. They've been had a bad break. They've been lowest on the totem pole. They made less money. They did all the hard work. So for Black lives matter to me, Black lives did not matter. And if you've done something to a white person, a white man, you was automatically wrong. If you got into a fight with one, if you whipped him, you had to leave the country. Because if you didn't, a mob will come out and they beat you down and the police wouldn't do anything about it. The reason I said Black lives doesn't matter. As a teenager, I worked for a tire company downtown. And I would kind of break down the tire. Didn't weigh about 135 pounds when I was in high school. And the white guy the man owner walked to me and said, "Boy, get out of the way," and kicked me off the tire. Kicked me off the tire. And at that time, they had police walking the beat on the square. I went up to the police and told the police that that man kicked me. He would not pay me. He was supposed to tell me, boy, you better keep your little ass out up there. That man will do more than that to you. So Black lives matter to me. Black lives to me have never mattered for the black man.
Yeah.